What's going on, folks? This your boy Riot Can Rip, and I'm about to show y'all how I program drums. Um, Show y'all my setup right here. I'm using a Kaya MPC Live version 1, and I'm using Studio One as the DAW and sequencer. I'm using the Live in controller mode. And over here, I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but I got the LM drum. I'm not using it right now, but that's what I normally would do to convert my drum samples into 12-bit drums. But for the sake of this tutorial, because everybody don't have an LM drum or MPC 60 or SB 1200 or any of the old drum machines that sampled in 12 bits, the Sonic EPS that sampled at 13 bits. For the people that don't have that hardware, I use the emulator in Studio One. So I'm gonna show y'all how I got everything set up. And bring y'all over here to my desktop here. So let me kind of disable all the plugins. And disable this. Oh, no, I'm gonna disable that. Disable this. Disable that. And disable. I'll leave that in. That's me talking. If y'all hear me cut in and out, I got my microphone over here, and I'm talking to y'all through the camera. But now that we on the desktop, I actually can move in a little bit. If y'all hear me cut out, it's because I might have soloed the track and cut myself out. So just bear with me. So let me disable the bus plugins over here. And this is my mic. Let me just name this so I know what it is. I got OCD when it comes to that. All right, so in the file section, I use York Rock drums, the Clyde Stubblefield bundle that comes with a multi-track session of Clyde Stubblefield. And for people that don't know who that is the funky drummer. I would say one of the foundations to hip hop music, Clyde Stubblefield. With James Brown in a funk band. Clyde Stubblefield was one of the illest drummers of all time. So I'm using that because I like using breakbeats. So to have a multi-track session of Clyde Stubblefield is like, it feel like, me put my kid hat on and feel like I'm in the studio with Clyde Stubblefield. But so here's the drum. Let me kind of, because I added my own drums on top of his drums. So let me kind of mute out my drums. Here. Leave those on mute. All right, so here's the kick drum. And you're going to hear bleed on each track. That's how they recorded it. And that's how they record live drums back in the day. So, yeah, that's how they recorded live drums back in the day. So this the kick drum. Let me take that click off. So that's the kick drum. Here's the snare drum. Now, granted, it's slowed down. I'm gonna let y'all hear what it originally sounded like before I slowed it down. I'm kind of a little dyslexic. I should have let y'all hear that first. Which one was it? I think it was this one. So that's the original. At 128 BPMs, but I slowed it down, so that's why I sound like how I sound now. Pitch shifted down. So with the kick and the snare together. But if y'all can hear the hi-hat bleed. Y'all hear that? All right, so and this is the actual hi-hat. So y'all hear that? And they was dope enough to give us overheads. So this is one of the overheads. I got it panned hard left. So y'all can hear that. And here's the other one that's in, and it's a separate track too. It's not the same wave file. So here's the right channel, the right side. All right, so now let me unsolo that and let y'all hear it together, you know. All right, so, you know, basic loop. And it sounds like a live drummer. But that's not the sound I'm looking for. I'm looking for the funky drummer sound of vinyl record. That's what I'm aiming for. So let's see here. On a kick drum, I used the Solid State Logic native channel. This right here. So on the kick drum, let me solo it. All right, so I got that solo. This is dry. And this is wet with the channel strip. As y'all can see, I'm trying to isolate that kick drum. So I ran it through a gate over here, ran it through some compression, some EQ, kind of shaped and rounded out the bottom on the EQ side of things, and took out some highs on the EQ. Now, also, I got a filter, a little bit of a high pass filter going on the kick drum. Yep. So next in line on my on this list on my kick drum, I used the Solid State Logic LMC Plus, which is the Listen mic compressor. I used that to add extra punch and aggressiveness to the kick drum. And this is what it sound like dry again with just the channel strip on there. All right, and this is what it sound like with it on. So it added some boom to it, you know what I mean, on that kick drum. All right, so moving on over to the snare drum. That's all I added on there. And then on the snare drum, I got it dry. I didn't add anything on there. Now you're going to hear bleed from the hi-hat on that snare. So this is how they recorded it. So check it. Basic snare. You can hear the bleed off the hi-hat. Now moving on to the hi-hat. I did add something onto the hi-hat. I added the Soundstate Logic XEQ2, which is a very surgical EQ. Now, this is what it sound like, the hi-hat sound without it on. All right, and this is what it sound like with the XEQ on there. And as you can see, I rolled off the mid, the lows, the mid lows, rolled everything, pretty much flattened everything, and kept the highs in there, just to get the highs off the hi hat. And I'm using that primarily as a texturing effect to color in the bleed that's already coming off the snare drum. And then we'll get into the overheads because you'll hear the hi-hat on the overheads as well. So this is what it sound like off again. And here we go wet. So y'all get it hear what it sound like with the snare and that right there together. See what I'm saying? Now, if I was just to have this on there, it'd be thin as hell. As opposed to this without it on. But now this is with it on. I'm just getting the high frequencies off of it. And now when you hear that, because I don't think I added anything onto the or the overheads, so I'm gonna play them, play everything. Well, before I play everything together, I'm gonna play the snare, the hi hat, and the overheads. All right, so you see that now. Let me add the kick drum in there, and this is without the floor toms because they gave us floor toms as well. I'm gonna let y'all hear those because I didn't put nothing on those anyway. So check it. All right, so yeah, sound like a studio version of a drummer. Let me add the toms in there so y'all can hear the whole everything together. All right, so sound pretty basic, and that's just what I put on each channel. Now, what I did from this point on is I took all the drums and grouped them down to a bus channel over here. In the MPC software, they call it a subgroup, which is the same as a bus group, bus channel. That sent all the drums down to the stereo bus channel. And on this stereo bus channel, being as though I worked at Larry Gold's recording studio, and back then Larry Gold used to, before Pro Tools, recorded on 2-inch reel-to-reel, actually on the same machine right here called a Studer analog 2-inch 24-track reel-to-reel. And UAD actually has this plugin. And back in the 70s, that's that was the medium that they used to record on, was reel-to-reel tapes. It wasn't no Pro Tools. It wasn't no ADATs, DA88s, no digital recorders back then. It was straight analog. So that's the first thing that I put on a bus channel, was the Studer 24 channel tape saturator. And I'll let you hear what it sound like. Here's what it sound like off. And this is what it sound like on. Off. On. So it practically kind of glued everything together and gave it a thickness to the drums. And hopefully the video camera picked this up. So yeah, that's the Studer by UAD. And let me say this for the record again, none of these manufacturers is paying me for this video. This is strictly for the love of me doing this. The next plugin that I used is the SPL Machine Head, which is another tape saturator plugin by SPL. The plugin is actually from Plugin Alliance, and that's this plugin right here. The SPL is one of my go-to plugins. One of my homies, Will Ill, put me on to this plugin last year. And was it last year? I think it was last year. I forgot, but he put me on to this plugin, and yeah, it was last year. And from that point on, it was no looking back. Love it. Check it out. This without it. With it on. Without the plugin. With it on. Yeah, it added life to the added more life to it. No disrespect to Clyde, but it added that thickness and punch and grit by driving the tape heads. And the next thing that I got on this bus channel is a vinyl simulator, because I'm looking to get the sound of a breakbeat, not a session musician, so to speak. I'm looking for the sound. If I was sampling off vinyl records, that's the sound I'm trying to aim for on this particular drum programming that I'm doing. So this is the Isotope vinyl plugin that I use, and this is what it sound like with it off. All right, and this is what it sound like with it on, right here. Off, nice and clean, and here come the dirt. All right, so I ain't done yet. I got one last plugin on this bus channel. And so now I got the vinyl sound, you know, as much as it is, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like 100% vinyl, so I can't fake the front funk. But what I could do, I got total control of how much to add and how much to take away. So if you're sampling straight off vinyl record, you don't have those capabilities. So it's kind of like a, you know, apples and oranges type thing. I can't tell everybody how to cook tracks or cook beats. I can tell you how I cook beats. And hopefully, with God's willing, people like my food. You see what I'm saying? Everybody is different. So, needless to say, the last plugin I used was the Bit Crusher on the bus channel. And all it did was emulate a 12-bit analog machine. Took it from 24-bit and pretty much diced it right in half and put it on 12. Sounding, because it's not like true 12-bit, but it's a good enough emulator. And this is by Personas. And there's tons of emulators out there. You got Air Flavor. You got tons of bit crushers out there. So pick, you know, whatever one works for you. So this is the one I use. This is what it sound like without it. And this is what it sound like on. So you can actually hear the aliasing on it, which I like. So, you know, that's the closest to like a MPC 60 or SB 1200 or any of those classic analog. Well, they wasn't all analog, but those classic drum machine samplers from way back in the day, the 12-bit versions. Not talk about the MPC 3000 or the ASR 10 or EPS 16 Plus or any of those samplers, because they all 16-bit. The MPC 60, 62, the SB 1200, and the EPS is all the 12-bit samplers from back in those times. So here we go again, and I'll let y'all hear what it sound like finally with the what I have on a master bus fader. Now normally, if I'm going into the mastering stages of a track or a record, I do not put nothing on a master fader. That's just rule of thumb, because you want to leave enough headroom and you don't want to squash everything or damage anything for the mastering engineer. So it's best to kind of give yourself enough headroom. Usually I stay around -3 decibels or -4.3, around that area, to give enough headroom for the mastering engineer to turn everything back up and EQ everything. So needless to say, for one, on a master bus, I'm using the Solid State Logic G Series bus compressor, which is this. This is what it sound like with it off. And this is what it sound like on. So this is what it with everything. I mean, with the master bus compressor on, this is what it sound like with it on. Again, I'm gonna play it back, and this is what it sound like off. On. So that's what it sound like, you know what I'm saying? It added thickness to it. It glued everything together. And yeah, love it. Classic right there. Actually, when I first worked at a major recording studio at Larry Gold's, this was the Solid State Logic console was the console that I was trained on. So let me kind of take that out. So that's with that on. And then finally on the master bus fader, I put another machine head on there. And y'all already know what it looked like. This is with it off. And this is what it sound like with it on. Off. A little subtle a little bit. It just added a little bit on there. That's all I wanted, Didn't want to over compress, over slam, or do anything. Just wanted to just tighten it up a little bit and drive it just a little bit more on a machine head. And last, I got the leveler. That way, I know where I'm at level wise. And that's what I have so far. Now, what I went ahead and did was I hopped on the MPC over here. And I actually, let me see here. I wonder if I can go back and show y'all how I did this. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bear with me, folks. There we go. All right, so earlier I forgot to hit record on OBS when I punched in these drums. But these drums is coming off the MPC. This is what I put on top of the Breakbeat from Clyde Stubblefield. But before I play everything, I'm gonna let y'all hear what I did. So I just added a little something to the drums. Check it out. So that's my drums over top of that's going to be played over top of the breakbeat. And that's pretty much the formula how I program my drums. I usually probably use a breakbeat. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And I just throw my drums over top of the breakbeat. Sometimes I sample each individual one shot off the breakbeat and use those drums to reprogram drums, but I didn't do all that this time. So from here, what I did, let me show y'all. I'm gonna show y'all in real time. Let me just bring this down. Actually, I can just move this console out the way right quick and put this on normal over here. So kind of bring this down on the MPC. So this is the MPC right here, all the drums together. So what I do, and this goes for anybody that use any old equipment, whether it's the MPC 60, the SB 1200, the 4000, any drum machine, sampler, old piece of MIDI equipment, you can do this right here to kind of bring it current in today's workflow. Like I said, I didn't use the MPC Live sequencer, or I didn't use it in standalone mode, but I'm using Studio One as a sequencer. So what I do is explode pitches the tracks. So now I got everything separated: the kick, snare, hi-hat, clap. Actually, let me go back because I already did this already. So what I do is explode everything, all the pitches to separate tracks, and I bounce everything down. And that's how I normally program my drums. And let me go undo this right quick because I already did it. I gotta redo all this. That sucks because I added some other stuff onto this drum track. Let me see what I got going. All right, let's see here. I think I added a clap on there and it's not in there. I don't hear it. All right, let me add that clap back in there because I kind of like the way that sounded. So let's see here. I can put it on this one right here. It don't matter. Where I got that joint at. Here we go. That clap right there. So I added that on top of the drums. And what pad was that? All right, the third pad. All right, here we go. 2, 3, and... All right, so again, let me explode that down. Boom. So now I recorded the clap in there. All right. So now what I would normally do is go here and then go ahead and bounce selection in Studio One, and that's going to give me wave transients. Boom, that fast. So let me kind of move these up and out the way. And I normally will hide those, go right here, and then create a new layer. So if I want to add more sounds coming off the MP, I got a fresh new track. Boom. And because I have OCD when it comes to this, I name everything. So I know this is the kick drum because I could tell where it's placed at. This is the kick. And I don't know if this is the snare or the snaps. I'm about to find out in a minute here. Okay, that was the claps, actually. And this is... Let's see, that looks like it should be the snaps. Yeah. All right, and this right here is the snare. And this is that 808 drum. Boom. Let me turn the claps down a little bit. And the snaps. All right, so I just, kind of gain stage things. Let me kind of arrange this. I want the snare to be right here. The claps right there. And boom. So this was the kicks, Clyde and me. And granted, I don't have my drums going through the bus channel. Only Clyde drums is going through the bus channel. So you hear the aliasing. Don't mind my dog walking upstairs. I'm in the basement. But y'all hear that? The ring off that. That's the classic ring that you hear on the SP1200. Granted, they pit. Back then, the SP1200 had very little sample time, so we had to speed up the record, then slow it back down. You're not getting that sound, but that's that aliasing in there. So let's see here. That's pretty much it as far as the basic steps to drum programming. Now, granted, it's certain things that I'm going to do on these drums. Like I'm gonna show y'all just an example. I'm not gonna go through the whole process, but I will add my reverbs, delays, and all the other stuff on the drums. So this is one of my go-to delays that I use to add some flavor onto the drums. Check it. Well, I probably want to put it on my snare. Let's go to effects and let me go to native instruments and I use replica. And there's other delays out there, but this is one of my favorite ones. And let's see here. Let me kind of solo this. It's going to sound crazy until I tweak it. See, I added some flavor to it. So that's just one of the many other things that I color the track on. I call it my little seasoning. So every chef got his way of cooking, and it's a blessing if people appreciate my food. Again, this is your boy Riot Can Rip, and y'all tuning in to Drum Programming 101 with your boy Riot Can Rip at MBC Beats on YouTube. Check me out. Peace out. Alrighty.